Most men never fail because they lack desire. They fail because their desire never becomes organized. They want success, wealth, freedom, influence, but their thoughts move in every direction at once. Their ambition burns hot for a moment, then fades into distraction because nothing was built to hold it. Desire without structure becomes frustration. Desire without planning becomes exhaustion. And eventually, the man begins calling his lack of results bad luck when the real problem was disorder from the beginning. Before you continue listening, understand this clearly. Money does not move toward wishful thinking. Opportunity does not respond to emotion alone. The world rewards organized minds, deliberate action, and men who know exactly what they are building. Most people spend years hoping their lives will change, while never creating a system capable of producing change. They confuse movement with progress. They confuse motivation with direction. But motivation fades quickly when there is no structure supporting it. Napoleon Hill understood something most men never fully grasp. Desire is only the starting point. Desire is the spark, but planning is the machinery. Without organized planning, ambition remains trapped inside the imagination. The dream stays invisible, and invisible dreams do not produce visible results. You have seen this pattern before. Men talk endlessly about what they want: more money, more freedom, better opportunities, a different future. But ask them for the exact structure of their plan, and confusion appears immediately. They have wishes, not systems. They have emotion, not organization. And because of this, their effort scatters in every direction like light without focus. Organized planning changes that completely. It takes scattered desire and compresses it into force. It turns vague ambition into measurable action. It transforms hoping into building. This is why some men rise steadily while others remain trapped in cycles of beginning and stopping. The successful man is not always more talented. Often, he is simply more organized. Andrew Carnegie did not build an empire through desire alone. Henry Ford did not revolutionize industry through excitement alone. Thomas Edison did not illuminate the world through inspiration alone. Each of these men possessed something deeper. They learned how to arrange thought into structure, structure into action, and action into results. That is the real difference between dreaming and achieving. A man may possess enormous potential, but potential without direction becomes wasted energy. Imagine a river flowing without banks. Its power disperses across the land without accomplishing anything. But once that same water is directed through a narrow channel, it gains force strong enough to move machinery, generate electricity, and reshape entire cities. Desire works the same way. When scattered, it weakens. When organized, it becomes powerful. The first principle of organized planning is definite purpose. Most people never decide exactly what they want. They speak vaguely because they think vaguely, but the subconscious mind responds only to clarity. It cannot organize confusion. It cannot build uncertainty. It obeys precision. Edwin C. Barnes understood this when he decided he would become a business partner of Thomas Edison. Notice carefully. He did not merely wish for a better job. He did not hope for success someday. He fixed his mind upon one definite outcome: partnership. That single decision organized his entire behavior. His posture changed. His persistence changed. His choices changed. His identity began changing before his circumstances ever did. This is the hidden power of organized planning. It first rearranges the man internally before it rearranges the world externally. Once desire becomes definite, it must then be structured. Structure means assigning order to your ambition. It means asking difficult questions. What exactly must be done? What skills are required? What sacrifices must be made? What habits must disappear? What daily actions must repeat consistently until momentum forms? Most men avoid these questions because structure removes fantasy. Fantasy is comfortable because it requires nothing. Planning is uncomfortable because it demands responsibility. The moment a man creates a real plan, excuses lose their power. And this is why organized planning separates dreamers from builders. The dreamer enjoys imagining success. The builder enjoys constructing it. A real plan also requires sequence. Every achievement follows order. A foundation must exist before walls can rise. Yet most men want results without process. They seek wealth before value, influence before discipline, achievement before identity. But nature never skips sequence, and every time a man ignores sequence, frustration follows. Ford understood sequence when building the motor car. Edison understood sequence while developing the electric light. They did not demand immediate results. They built systems. They refined methods. They adjusted repeatedly without abandoning the governing intention behind their work. That is what organized planning truly is. Not rigid control, not endless activity, but disciplined alignment between desire, thought, action, and persistence. And once a man develops this alignment, something extraordinary begins to happen. His effort stops feeling random. His decisions gain clarity. His confidence becomes quieter but stronger. He no longer wakes each day wondering what to do. The plan decides that for him. This is where power begins. Because the man with organized planning no longer depends on temporary motivation, he depends on structure. And structure continues working long after emotion fades. The average man waits to feel inspired before acting. The organized man acts because the structure already exists. That difference changes everything. The second principle of organized planning is the transformation of desire into architecture. A desire by itself is only emotional energy. It may be sincere, it may be powerful, it may even burn inside a man for years. But until it is given shape, it cannot build anything. Emotion without architecture only creates movement without direction. It keeps a man busy, but not advancing. A real plan begins when desire is reduced into parts. Not one vague dream, but a structure of actions, resources, people, time, and measurement. This is where most men become uncomfortable, because planning exposes the distance between what they say they want and what they are actually prepared to do. A man may say he wants wealth, but has he decided what value he will offer in exchange for it? He may say he wants freedom, but has he arranged his time, money, habits, and associations to support that freedom? He may say he wants success, but has he built a daily rhythm capable of producing it? If not, then he does not yet have a plan. He has a wish. Organized planning begins with one hard truth. Money follows value, not desire. You cannot simply want money and expect it to arrive. You must decide what service, skill, product, leadership, knowledge, or solution you will provide in return. The world does not pay for longing. It pays for organized contribution. This is why a plan must include a method of exchange. What will you give? Who will benefit? Why should the world reward your effort? What problem will you solve? What ability must you sharpen until it becomes valuable enough to command payment? These questions turn desire into reality. The average man avoids them because they demand accountability. It is easier to say, I want more money, than to say, I will become worth more by mastering this skill, serving this market, solving this problem, and improving every day until my value increases. But that second statement contains power because it gives the mind direction. Once value is defined, the plan must be arranged in sequence. Sequence is the order through which desire becomes result. Every successful plan has steps that must happen before other steps can happen. Some men fail because they do the right things in the wrong order. Others fail because they skip the foundation and attempt to build the roof first. A man who wants financial success must first establish clarity, then skill, then daily execution, then measurement, then revision, then alliance, then expansion. If he reverses this order, confusion appears. If he tries to expand before he has built discipline, the expansion collapses. If he seeks alliance before he can offer value, strong minds will not join him. If he seeks wealth before creating service, money will avoid him. Nature honors sequence. Builders know this. Inventors know this. Industrialists know this. The farmer prepares soil before expecting harvest. The architect draws the plan before raising walls. The inventor tests and revises before presenting discovery. Yet the average man wants results before preparation, and when results do not appear quickly, he calls the process unfair. but the process was never unfair. It was simply ignored. The third principle of organized planning is the alliance of minds. No great plan is carried out by one man alone. A man may begin with personal desire, but if the desire is large enough, it will eventually require cooperation. Knowledge, skill, influence, experience, capital, and perspective must be brought together in an organized way. This is where many men fail through pride. They believe asking for help is weakness. They believe they must know everything themselves. But no man builds greatly alone. The man who refuses alliance limits his plan to the size of his own knowledge. Andrew Carnegie understood this deeply. He did not need to personally know every technical process of steel production. He needed to organize men who did. His power was not in isolated knowledge, but in organized knowledge. He brought together capable minds and directed them toward one definite aim, that is, organized planning at its highest level. A lone man may dream. A man with the right alliance can build, but the alliance must be selected carefully. Not every companion belongs inside your plan. Not every friend is a builder. Not every opinion deserves influence. A weak alliance weakens the entire structure. A confused mind inside your circle brings confusion into the plan. A negative mind brings hesitation. A lazy mind brings delay. You must surround your plan with people whose discipline strengthens yours. People who understand direction. People who can correct you without weakening you. People whose knowledge fills your gaps. People who take the work seriously. This is not social comfort. This is strategic association. The fourth principle is time discipline. Time is the raw material from which every plan is built. The man who wastes time weakens his own future without realizing it. Every hour spent without purpose is a brick removed from the structure of his desire. Most men treat time carelessly because they do not connect today's wasted hour with tomorrow's missing result. They believe they can delay and still arrive. They believe they can drift and still build. But time does not forgive disorder. It simply records it. A real plan assigns time with precision. It decides when work will happen, when study will happen, when review will happen, when rest will happen, when communication will happen. The unplanned day becomes vulnerable to distraction. The planned day becomes a servant of purpose. This does not mean every moment must be harsh or mechanical. It means every major action must have a place. Without assigned time, important tasks are always postponed by urgent distractions. The average man gives his best hours to reaction and his weakest hours to ambition. Then he wonders why his ambition does not grow. The organized man does the opposite. He gives protected time to what matters most. He does not wait for spare time because spare time rarely appears. He creates time by commanding it. The fifth principle is daily rhythm. A plan must not depend on occasional bursts of energy. It must be converted into repeated action. Rhythm is what carries the builder when emotion fades. Without rhythm, progress becomes inconsistent. With rhythm, even small actions begin to accumulate into force. Edison understood rhythm. Ford understood rhythm. Carnegie understood rhythm. Their achievements did not emerge from occasional enthusiasm. They emerged from repeated work, applied in a consistent direction over long periods of time. This is where the average man loses power. He works hard when he feels inspired, then disappears when emotion fades. He begins with intensity, then returns to disorder. But success does not respond to intensity alone. It responds to continuity. The organized plan creates rhythm so the man does not have to negotiate with himself every day. The plan tells him what must be done. The rhythm carries him into action, and the repeated action slowly builds identity. This is how desire becomes money, not through one emotional decision, but through organized repetition. The sixth principle is measurement. What is not measured is usually exaggerated, ignored, or misunderstood. A man may believe he is working hard, but measurement reveals whether his effort is actually producing movement. Without measurement, he lives inside opinion. With measurement, he confronts truth. A plan must be reviewed regularly. What was done? What was missed? What produced progress? What created delay? What must be strengthened? What must be removed? What must be revised? Most men avoid measurement because it removes illusion. It shows whether they are truly advancing or merely staying busy. But the serious man welcomes measurement because it gives him control. Revision is not failure. Revision is intelligence. A plan that cannot adapt will eventually break. Conditions change. Knowledge grows. Opportunities appear. Obstacles reveal weaknesses. The man who refuses revision becomes rigid. The man who revises wisely becomes stronger. Barnes did not reach his goal exactly as he first imagined. He adapted. He accepted smaller duties. He learned. He observed. He positioned himself. His desire remained fixed, but his path evolved. That is the correct use of revision. Do not abandon the aim. Improve the method. The seventh principle is emotional order. Desire is emotional power, but emotion must be governed. If emotion controls the plan becomes unstable. When excitement is high, the man may overcommit. When discouragement appears, he may retreat. When fear rises, he may delay. When pride is touched, he may make foolish decisions. The plan must govern emotion, not the other way around. This is why organized planning creates strength. It gives a man something to return to when feelings change. When doubt appears, he returns to the outline. When fear appears, he returns to the next action. When impatience appears, he returns to the sequence. When discouragement appears, he returns to the governing intention. A man without a plan is ruled by mood. A man with a plan is ruled by direction. This difference is enormous. Because the path to wealth, achievement, and influence is never emotionally smooth, there will be delay. There will be opposition. There will be disappointment. There will be moments where progress seems invisible. If a man depends only on emotion, he will stop. But if he has organized his desire into structure, the plan will hold him steady when emotion becomes unreliable. The eighth principle is cost. Every desire has a price, not merely money, but time, comfort, attention, pride, sleep, habits, associations, and old identities. Most men say they want success, but they have never calculated the cost honestly. They want the harvest without the sacrifice. They want the result without the transformation. This is impossible. A plan must include the price. What must you give up? What comfort must you release? What distraction must die? What weakness must be replaced? What discipline must become non-negotiable? The man who refuses the cost refuses the desire itself. Carnegie paid his cost through responsibility. Edison paid his cost through relentless experimentation. Ford paid his cost through ridicule, pressure, and persistence. Every serious achievement demands payment in advance. This is where organized planning becomes a test of sincerity. A vague dream asks nothing from you. A real plan asks for everything required, and that is why most men prefer dreaming. Dreaming allows them to feel ambitious without changing. Planning forces them to become responsible for the ambition. The ninth principle is initial force. Every plan is hardest at the beginning. The first days, first weeks, and first months demand unusual strength because momentum has not yet formed. The average man expects the beginning to feel exciting forever. When it becomes difficult, he assumes something is wrong, but nothing is wrong. The machinery is simply starting. A locomotive requires great force to begin movement, but once it is moving, less force is needed to continue. Human discipline works the same way. The beginning is heavy because the old identity still resists. The mind is not yet trained. The rhythm is not yet established. The plan is not yet familiar. The organized man expects this. He plans for it. He does not interpret early resistance as failure. He sees it as the natural cost of starting movement. And because he expects difficulty, difficulty does not surprise him. This alone gives him advantage over the man who thinks success should feel easy at first. The 10th principle is identity. A plan, no matter how well arranged, will fail if the man remains unequal to it. The builder must become capable of carrying the structure he designs. A weak identity cannot sustain a strong plan. A divided man cannot execute a unified desire. Therefore, organized planning must shape the man himself. He must become orderly, decisive, persistent, reliable, economically disciplined, emotionally steady, selective in association, loyal to purpose, capable of revision, strong enough to complete what he begins. This is the final secret. Desire does not become money merely because the plan exists. Desire becomes money when the man becomes the kind of person through whom the plan can succeed. Wealth flows toward order. It withdraws from disorder. A disorganized man may receive money temporarily, but he cannot command it permanently. A disciplined man learns to direct money, multiply it, and use it as a tool of expansion. So the true work of organized planning is not only building the plan, it is building the builder. There is a deeper stage of organized planning where the plan stops being a document and becomes machinery. This is the stage most men never reach. They write goals, create lists, make promises, and mistake these things for planning. But a true plan is not a list of intentions. It is a working system. Each part supports another. Each action has a purpose. Each measurement reveals truth. Each revision strengthens the structure. A plan becomes machinery when it can continue operating even when emotion fades. This is the difference between the man who dreams and the man who builds. The dreamer needs excitement. The builder needs structure. Excitement comes and goes, but machinery keeps moving as long as the builder maintains it. The first wheel in this machinery is daily duty. Every great result is built from repeated small duties performed with seriousness. Most men despise small duties because they want large results quickly. But success is not offended by small beginnings. It is built through them. The man who neglects his daily duties weakens his plan at the foundation. Each day must contain actions that serve the definite aim, not random activity, not busyness, not motion that makes a man feel productive while producing nothing lasting. The daily duty must be connected to the plan. If the aim is wealth, then the day must contain value creation, skill improvement, relationship building, measurement, or execution that moves money closer to reality. The second wheel is specialized knowledge. Desire without knowledge is weak. A man must know what his aim requires. If he lacks the knowledge, he must acquire it or ally himself with those who possess it. This is not optional. The world rewards useful knowledge organized toward valuable service. Andrew Carnegie understood this principle clearly. He did not know everything about steel, but he knew how to organize men who did. That gave him power greater than isolated intelligence. Many men remain poor not because they lack desire, but because they never organized knowledge around that desire. The third wheel is division of effort. No man should waste his highest energy on tasks that others can do better. The builder must learn where his unique strength belongs and where assistance is required. Pride destroys many plans because pride insists on doing everything alone. But intelligent delegation multiplies power. A plan becomes stronger when each task is placed where it can be performed best. The fourth wheel is time command. Time is not merely something you spend. It is something you invest into the structure of your future. The man who wastes time damages the invisible architecture of his desire. A wasted hour may seem harmless today, but repeated waste becomes missing achievement tomorrow. This is why organized planning requires protected hours. Certain tasks must be assigned time and defended fiercely. If the day is not commanded, it will be consumed. If your best attention is not reserved for your greatest aim, the world will take it for lesser things. The fifth wheel is measurement. A man must know whether his plan is alive or dying. Measurement reveals this. Without measurement, he relies on feelings, and feelings are unreliable. A man may feel busy and still be making no progress. He may feel discouraged while real progress is quietly forming. Measurement brings truth where emotion brings confusion. Review your plan weekly. Examine what worked, what failed, what repeated, what improved, what declined. Do not review emotionally. Review as a builder inspecting beams. If a beam is weak, strengthen it. If a method is poor, Revise it. If an alliance is unhelpful, reconsider it. If time is being wasted, reclaim it. Revision is not defeat. Revision is the intelligence of the builder. Thomas Edison revised thousands of times. Each experiment that did not produce the desired result became instruction. Weak men call revision failure. Builders call it refinement. The sixth wheel is adaptation. A plan must be living. A rigid plan breaks when reality changes. A living plan bends, learns, adjusts, and continues toward the same definite aim. Many men abandon their plan the moment obstacles appear because they confuse method with purpose. The purpose should remain steady. The method may change. Edwin C. Barnes did not become Edison's partner in exactly the way he first imagined. He accepted lower tasks. He learned the business. He observed opportunity. He adjusted his path without surrendering his desire. That is intelligent planning. He did not abandon the destination simply because the road changed. The seventh wheel is emotional command. This may be the most neglected wheel of all. A man may have a strong plan, but if his emotions rule his decisions, the plan will eventually collapse. Excitement may cause him to rush. Fear may cause him to delay. Discouragement may cause him to stop. Pride may cause him to reject useful correction. Therefore, the plan must be stronger than mood. When emotion rises, return to structure. When doubt speaks, return to sequence. When impatience grows, return to measurement. When discouragement appears, return to the governing intention. The organized man does not ask, "How do I feel today?" He asks, "What does the plan require today?" That question preserves direction. The eighth wheel is persistence. Not blind persistence, not stubborn repetition of mistakes, but sustained effort guided by organized thought. Many men work hard and fail because their effort is scattered. But when persistence moves inside a structured plan, every action builds upon the last. This is where compound force begins. One action alone may not change much, but repeated actions, measured, revised, aligned, and sustained, begin cutting through obstacles like water through stone. The organized man understands that the result may appear slowly. He does not demand immediate reward. He trusts the machinery because he maintains it. The ninth wheel is imagination under discipline. Imagination alone produces fantasy. Discipline alone may produce routine without expansion, but disciplined imagination creates progress. A man must see what does not yet exist and then build the sequence by which it can exist. Edison imagined light, but he also experimented. Ford imagined affordable transportation, but he also organized production. Carnegie imagined industrial expansion, but he also built systems of men, capital, knowledge, and time. The dream must be joined to method. The 10th wheel is subconscious instruction. Your plan must be impressed upon the mind repeatedly until it becomes internal law. Write it, read it, picture it, speak it, review it. Not as empty ritual, but as command. The subconscious mind responds to repeated clarity. It begins filtering opportunities, ideas, and decisions through the aim you have given it. Most men feed the subconscious confusion. One day they desire wealth, the next day comfort. One day discipline, the next day distraction. One day courage, the next day retreat. Then they wonder why their lives feel scattered. The organized man gives the mind one clear order repeatedly. This creates alignment. Alignment creates power. Power creates result. There is also a hidden support beneath all organized planning: silence. Speak little of your plan before it has strength. The world often cannot understand what has not yet been built. Too much speaking dissipates energy. A man who announces every intention often weakens the force required to execute it. Let your work gather strength quietly. Let your results speak when the structure can stand. Another support is loyalty to the aim. A man who changes aims constantly weakens every plan he touches. Loyalty gives the plan time to grow. Loyalty keeps the mind from chasing every new distraction. Loyalty allows effort to accumulate instead of constantly restarting. Yet loyalty must not become stubbornness against truth. The aim remains loyal. The method remains intelligent. This is the balance strong builders understand. There is also the law of compensation. No man can build lasting wealth while offering little value. If your desire is great, your service must become greater. Do not ask first, how can I get more? Ask, how can I become worth more? That question changes the entire direction of your plan. Money follows value when value is organized, delivered, and expanded. If the plan contains no service, it contains no right to wealth. If it contains no improvement of ability, it contains no growth. If it contains no benefit to others, it has no real foundation. The organized plan must answer clearly. What value will I create? For whom? And how will I improve that value until money naturally follows? This is where many men discover the weakness of their desire. They want money, but they have not planned service. They want reward, but they have not designed contribution. They want harvest, but they have not planted anything that benefits the world. A sound plan corrects this. It connects desire to value. It connects value to action. It connects action to money. A plan must also include financial structure. Money that arrives without direction disappears. The same disorder that keeps a man from earning more will also cause him to lose what he earns. Therefore, organized planning must include saving, reinvestment, controlled spending, and wise expansion. A man who spends everything he earns remains dependent, no matter how much he earns. A man who directs money according to plan begins converting income into power. This is why organized planning is not only about making money, it is about becoming capable of handling it. Wealth flows toward order. It withdraws from disorder. A disorganized man may receive money temporarily, but he cannot keep it, multiply it, or direct it with strength. His habits will consume it. His emotions will spend it. His lack of structure will scatter it. The organized man treats money as a tool. He assigns it purpose. He protects it from impulse. He sends it where it can strengthen the plan. Now we reach the most important truth of this stage. The plan succeeds only when the man becomes equal to it. A greater plan requires a greater identity. The man must become orderly in thought, steady in emotion, disciplined in time, selective in association, courageous in action, and loyal to purpose. If he remains divided, the plan divides with him. If he remains weak, the plan weakens under pressure. If he remains inconsistent, the plan cannot produce consistent results. This is why organized planning transforms the builder while building the result. At first, the man creates the plan. Then the plan begins creating the man. It demands discipline where there was drift. It demands clarity where there was confusion. It demands courage where there was hesitation. It demands persistence where there was inconsistency. And if the man obeys long enough, he becomes someone different, someone stronger, someone through whom wealth, opportunity, and influence can move with structure. That is the true skill. Not merely writing a plan, not merely creating goals, but building the internal and external machinery through which desire can become money. In the end, desire alone does not make a man wealthy. Desire alone does not build a business, create influence, attract alliances, or produce lasting results. Desire is only the seed. If it is left unattended, it remains buried inside the imagination. But when desire is placed inside organized planning, it begins to grow into something the world can recognize, support, and reward. That is the great lesson. Most men have desire. Few men organize it. And that is why so many dreams remain unfinished. A man may want success with all his heart, but if his thoughts remain scattered, his actions inconsistent, his time ungoverned, his emotions uncontrolled, and his associations weak, his desire will never become money. It will remain a private longing, strong enough to create frustration, but not structured enough to create achievement. Organized planning changes everything because it gives desire a body. It gives ambition structure. It gives effort direction. It transforms vague wanting into deliberate building. The man with a real plan no longer wakes each day wondering what he should do. His purpose has already decided. His sequence is already defined. His duties are already arranged. His measurements reveal truth. His revisions strengthen the structure. His alliances multiply his ability. His time serves his aim. This is the difference between hope and construction. Hope waits. Planning builds. Hope imagines. Planning executes. Hope depends on feeling. Planning depends on order. And money responds to order. Money does not move permanently toward the man whose life is disorganized. It does not remain with the man who cannot control his time, his habits, his emotions, or his decisions. Wealth flows toward value, and value must be organized before it can become powerful. That is why the builder must become equal to the plan. A weak man cannot carry a strong purpose. A divided man cannot execute a unified desire. A careless man cannot command wealth. The plan demands transformation from the person who creates it. It asks him to become more disciplined, more focused, more reliable, more selective, more courageous, more loyal to one definite aim. And through that process, the man himself becomes the channel through which success can arrive. This is the hidden truth of organized planning. At first, you build the plan. Then the plan builds you. It reveals your disorder. It exposes your excuses. It challenges your weakness. It forces you to measure, adjust, act, and continue. And if you remain loyal to it long enough, it reshapes your identity completely. The dreamer becomes a builder. The scattered man becomes organized. The hesitant man becomes decisive. The man ruled by emotion becomes governed by purpose. That is when desire begins turning into money, not by luck, not by fantasy, but by law. Desire is the seed. Planning is the soil. Discipline is the water. Persistence is the sunlight. Value is the crop. And money is the harvest. So do not merely want more. Organize what you want. Do not merely imagine success. Build the machinery that can produce it. Do not wait for the world to reward your desire. Become the man whose plan, value, discipline, and identity make reward inevitable. Because the world does not pay for dreams. It pays for organized value. And the moment your desire becomes organized enough to serve others, strong enough to survive adversity, and disciplined enough to continue daily, it stops being a wish. It becomes a force. And a force, properly directed, eventually becomes money.